Hi, this is Oxford, and I just want to let you know that while we typically talk about Old West and Western culture, sometimes we talk about other shit. And if you don't like it, you could fuck your mom in her hiney hole, and you could let us watch. Thank you.
Go ahead, skin it. Skin that Smokewagon and see what happens.
Welcome to Smokewagon with your hosts, Tin Killer Cole and Ox Ford.
Well, howdy, folks. Welcome to the Smokewagon podcast. I'm Tin Killer Cole, and that over there's my good buddy, Ox Ford. Ox?
I'm an atheist.
Okay.
I don't believe in ghosts.
Do you really not?
I don't. Not one bit.
Haven't you ever had one ghostly experience in your life?
No, because ghosts aren't real.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people who believe that ghosts aren't real that have had unexplained experiences where they're like, well, I was probably tired.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But to me, it's the same. It's like unexplained doesn't equal ghost. Unexplained to me equals unexplained. Just like it's like, oh, there's something in the air, and it's an unidentified flying object doesn't equal spaceship. Mm-hmm. It just means I can't identify it. I don't know what the fuck it is. But people will go, well, it must be a spaceship. It must be an alien. Like that whole meme, aliens.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe in ghosts. But I will say this much: I always found ghost stories and like that whole thing. Ghost hunting, I always thought was really cool. I always found them to be interesting, and I listened to them and I love them. I just think that these people are batshit crazy.
So if you're wondering about the intro to the show and this little beginning here, this Smokewagon podcast is going to be dedicated to the ghostly stories of the Wild West.
Ghost happy.
There's a lot of them. A lot of ghost stories originated in the Wild West, honestly, and a lot of them still maintained to this day. And where I grew up in East Oklahoma, I mean, I grew up right near the end of the Trail of Tears, where all the Indians were forced to move to after they were displaced from east of the Mississippi, and there was a whole shitload of people who died there, and the whole place is just filled with Indian lore and crazy stories about beings and ghosts and wolves that turn into men and just all kind. I mean, I grew up listening to all kinds of crazy stories from my older family members. My peepaw, who was full-blooded Cherokee Indian, just telling me some of the craziest stuff, man. So I sort of grew up in this world where I was like, okay, so these things exist. Don't get me wrong, I have since I've got a little intelligence behind me now, and I've since grown out of a few of those things, but I'm not entirely convinced that ghosts or spirits don't exist. Not entirely convinced.
You're not convinced that they don't exist.
Correct.
I'm not convinced that they do exist. That's because they don't. I will go out and say that there are no ghosts. I will say I am that confident. Here's the thing. Before we go into any ghost stories, before we start telling ghost stories, here's my view on this. This is my logic. This is my rationale. I just made fart sounds with my hands. Did you hear that?
It's old school. That's like that's some shit I used to do in the 4th grade.
What the fuck?
It reminds me of when we did it with our armpits. Man, I haven't done that shit in forever.
Yeah. I did it by accident. I just clapped my hands together and went, and I'm like, all right, what the fuck is happening with my hands here? All right, so getting back to childish things, ghosts and the people that believe in them are kids or batshit crazy people, or people just with very active imaginations that are just they want something. It's like they want to hear something, so they hear it. I think it's like that. Anyway, going back to it, here's my thing. People will be like, oh yeah, okay. One time, my mom, I was still living in this town called Collingdale, which is where I met Buckaroo Brian. my grandmother died in 98, so it had to be 99. I got kicked out of my house in 2000, so I'm going to say it was 99. A wind, like a gust of wind, came through my house. Now, we had always had the windows open in the front and in the back, so naturally, wind's going to come through the fucking house, right? My mom had this candle in this like glass thing with these chains. It looked like some S&M fucking candle bullshit. I don't know. My mom was probably into some weird kinky shit. I also one time found some kind of knitted cock sock in her fucking drawer. I don't know what that was about. Oh, there was. Oh, Jesus! You were young, man.
I know.
Fuck, you're like 16.
Yeah, your mom was a weird lady.
Weird.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I wouldn't put it. Not my mom, but the women on that street, they like to sleep around with the younger guys. That's a true story. Right. Anyway, so the wind must have come through, and it blew the candle out, and it was shaking the glass candle holder thing that was hanging. And my mom's like, it's grandmom. And I go, no, it's wind. It's wind. It's wind. That's how wind works, Mom. Like, that's how wind works. And she says, no, it's grandmom. Okay. So apparently ghosts, they can do things. They could push and pull, and they could open things, and they could do all kinds of crazy shit. So I always thought, all right, if that's true, how come we don't trip over ghost dogs? If we can feel these ghosts can touch you and they can do things, and how come ghost dinosaurs aren't knocking over buildings? You know why? Question. Do you know why?
No, I don't. Why?
Ghosts aren't real.
Oh, is that why?
Because ghosts aren't real. Yes, because ghosts aren't real.
There have
people, well, you don't know that. You can't prove that they're not real. And it's one of those. Well, the burden of proof is on the person that's posing that's presenting the claim. So if you're the one that has to prove that ghosts are real, not me. I'm saying that there's no proof. You have to provide proof that there are ghosts. Now, again, with that said, as much as I don't believe in ghosts, I always found it interesting. I found it fun. I always wanted to go on ghost hunting, like little expeditions and stuff. As a matter of fact, it was about 2010. I even tried to start my own ghost hunting group.
All right, so let me ask you this. If you went ghost hunting and you went to a haunted house and you brought your EVP equipment and and you turned it on and you sat there for an hour or so with just no noise whatsoever and you just heard a voice go, Jackie, would you be like, okay, I believe in ghosts now? Or would you just be like, that's an anomaly?
No, I would think that if I heard my name, first of all, why would a ghost there that in a strange place know my name? That doesn't work like that. And any of the ghost things I've ever watched, no ghost ever personally knew that person. It was usually like they're saying like help me or get out or something stupid. If they knew my name, that would be really cool, because then I'd use that ghost and be like, dude, listen, go in and get me the combination to that safe, and then come back and whisper it in my fucking ear. Since a ghost can whisper shit to you, they could probably go places. Right, I'd use it to my advantage. All right, but if I'm sitting in a place and I hear, and I'm not even going to say ghost, and I hear my name, I'm going to think that it's some kind of radio interference, or it's somebody fucking with me. I need real proof. I need concrete, like real proof that there's a ghost. I need to see shit. I need to be able to, I would think if I heard my name and if nobody was around, that I'm fucking just hearing shit in my head, because I hear listen, Nate, sorry, Cole, I hear all
I called
the time,
you Jackie before, now we're even.
Oh my gosh, you did. I'll go, hey Caitlin, I'll be like, did you just call me? And she'll go, no. And I go, oh, that's probably why I didn't hear you. But like, I'll think I hear my fucking name, because sometimes your mind does that. Your mind plays tricks a lot. You'll hear shit. You're like, did you say something? No. It's like, but I just heard something. And people are like, well, that's a ghost. You were hearing ghost. Or it's just your mind. Or it's just your mind. Or you heard something that sounded like your name, or you heard a noise and your mind convinced you that it was because it recognizes patterns, and the noise that you heard may have sounded like your brain just kind of converted that into a name. We don't know. Your mind is a crazy fucking thing. It's crazy.
You're the same type of... Go ahead.
Yeah, but the explanation to, thing, like if again, it's one of those things. Just because you can't explain something, like, it's okay to say I don't know. It's just like with the whole God thing. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in stuff like, well, how was it created? How did I don't know. Well, God must have created. Okay, fine. Who created God? Well, he always was. Well, if that's the answer for that, then why couldn't it just be these other things were around all the time? Why if this can be, if this is okay to be, just always there, why isn't this okay to just be always there? We don't have the answers, but just because you don't have the answer doesn't mean that you have to, assign an answer to something.
Exactly.
Just well, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. I don't know the answer, so God. I don't know the answer, so aliens. I don't know the answer, so ghosts. That's my reason.
I think we're
logic.
basically on the same page for the most part. I mean, I had a lot. I don't know if it's just because I have an active imagination or because I have crazy dreams, which I still do to this. I have my whole life. I've had wild dreams. I've had dreams where I don't even realize I'm dreaming. It's so vivid and real, and I see, that I've heard people say that you're not supposed to be able to see colors in your dreams. I see everything.
Bullshit.
I think
see color all the time in my fucking dream. Oh, you dreaming red or something like that. Bullshit.
Yeah, but no, or like I said, if I just have an active imagination, because I am a writer and I am constantly in my head thinking up stories and crazy, and I read a lot of Stephen King novels and shit and I always have. My whole life I've read. Even back when I was a child, I was reading the Goosebumps books. So yeah, it very well could be.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it very well could be just me being like, man, it would be cool if this shit was real. And then me, being in a half dream, half awake, half asleep sort of state, being like, man, somebody just opened my door and I didn't know who it was. Or, there's a lot of. I'm with you. I'm with you as far like I'm a huge skeptic. And if someone were to walk up to me tomorrow or right now and say, do you believe in ghosts? I would say I don't know, but I'm leaning towards.
And it's okay.
I'll lean towards no.
It's okay to say I don't know.
I'll lean towards no, but I'm leaning towards no.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, I'll when I was a kid, I used to tell people the lights went out. I was sleeping in the third floor bedroom of my grandpa's house, and I'm in bed, and the light went out, and I would always tell people that the light switch flipped down, and I watched it flip down, and I hid under the covers. Heads up, I was lying. Never happened. I bullshitted people just because the light went out in the room one time, and I couldn't explain it, so I said that I saw the light switch flip. Never did. I fucking lied.
Yeah.
I lied. I was a kid. I lied. I had an active fucking imagination. I wanted to tell a cool story. People believed it. I lied. Now, check this out. I'm on Periscope. Last night or 2 nights ago, I'm on Periscope. Now, I had a falling out with this one group of people that I was seeing, that I would hang out with. I would go in their scope or whatever. And I had a falling out because it was a group of girls, kind of like a mean girl clique that were making fun of this other girl, and then the other girl, I guess, just was really upset by it, and the person who ran the scope was telling the girl who was getting upset to drop it, and because she didn't drop it, he blocked her. And I'm like, that's fucked up. You didn't do shit with these girls that are being catty, but you're blocking the girl that was upset because she didn't drop it when you asked her to. She has every right to be, upset because these women are. They're grown women, and they're acting like a little clique of high school girls. And anyway, so me and this guy had a falling out, and somebody that I'm still friends with shared the scopes. Now, when you share the scope, not scare the. That would make sense on this episode. Anyway, when you share the scope, you see, if you're friends with that person, you could still see a preview of it, right? It'll show you oh, your friend is sharing this scope.
Right.
So this person's scope popped up in my list, and I was viewing it, and I viewed it for about 2 minutes, and this person's talking about how when he was a kid, he was in Hawaii with his dad, and he was surfing, and he was surfing, and a man of war knocked him off. He kept saying man of war, but a man of war knocked him off. Yeah, that's what he was saying. Man of war knocked him off of his surfboard, and then some kind of shark hit him. and it was nudging him to shore, which is obviously all bullshit. Never happened because this guy's a confirmed liar.
Right.
He tells people he's 60 years old. I looked up his information, his real fucking information. He's 37. He's my age. 37 years old, telling people he's 60. And he goes, oh, he's like, that's because that's what the government puts out. That's what the military puts out. I'm like, why would the military fucking put out a fake age for you? He's such a lunatic. Yeah. So anyway, he goes on this story about, and there's people that believe him. That's the sad part, and I'm getting to a point. And he's telling people that while all this happened, he met the Hawaiian deity, a Hawaiian goddess named Pele. Not the soccer dude, but a Hawaiian goddess named Pele.
A Hawaiian soccer player named Pele.
Yeah, yeah. I would believe that he met a Hawaiian soccer player named Pele, not a Hawaiian deity that doesn't exist. And he's telling people this shit, right? And I can't see the chat or anything, but you know that people are like, really? Oh, that's so cool. That's awesome. And people believe it because when you're a likable guy to people, and people start to believe your bullshit. Yeah. Right? Once you start to have a following, it's like a cult thing. They start to believe your bullshit. So this guy, he'll tell people that he's 60 years old. They believe it. Now, I know he's not. I found proof that he's not. Actual proof that he's not. He's 37. And people are like, well, and after he, like, I fucking emailed him about the shit, and then he started to scope about it. Like, he's like, oh, and he's saying this age, and people are like, well, you know the truth, you know how old you really are. And I'm like, are you serious? It's like they have these lemmings that will just follow him off fucking cliff.
The internet, the advent of the internet made us aware. It made the world aware that there is this group of people, and it's a large group of people, who will literally listen to anything that anybody puts out there and take it as straight fact. And with no research
it's not
whatsoever.
Just the internet. Let me stop you for a minute.
Well, no. What I'm saying is it made it's not just the internet. It made us aware of them. Because before, when you think of like somebody saying, okay, now me and you, when we look at the internet, when we're looking through our Facebook feed and somebody reposts something like UFO lands in Brazil, they're discovering what's going on.
We have information at our fingertips.
Yeah. Obviously, we're looking at it and going like, this is bullshit. You know what? Right. A UFO landed in Brazil. Let me do some research. Let me check CNN. Yeah. Let me fucking go. Let me check everywhere I can fucking look.
There's a one video of the plane, and the plane's like spiraling and doing all this shit and coming towards it, and it like almost hits the girl or something like that. And then you found out that video is fake, right? But at first it looks so good, it looks so crisp and clean, and like wow, this is fucking good shit. Like, it's either somebody knows what they're fucking doing with editing and they're really good, or this shit really happened. Well, it turns out that this person who made the video is just really fucking good. Like, they know what they're doing. But yeah, if somebody would have saw that video in the 90s, or the 80s somehow, and it was like on the news, and somebody was able to make that video because like some studio put it out, yeah, you would believe it. Yeah. Just like the 1960s with the moon landing. I'm just kidding. Anyway, but the thing is yeah, like people just, but the sad part is, Cole, is that in 2017, we do have information at our fingertips. We can debunk shit instantly, and yet people still believe it. They still believe all this stuff. There's no reason in 2017 to believe in aliens, ghosts, gods, fucking monsters, shit, when shit is debunked constantly. Yeah. So going back to ghost stories, when I was younger, like I said, I've always found this shit interesting because there's a part of me that wants to believe, but wanting to believe and actually believing are two different things. And people are like, well, you're not a real atheist. A real atheist can't believe. And this is what I've heard before, and especially in Pal Talk rooms. I would hear people like, there's no way if you're an atheist. I'm like, you don't even know what the fucking atheist. All an atheist means is somebody that doesn't believe. Nothing else. Doesn't mean possibly or this or that or the other thing. All an atheist means is somebody that does not believe in God. or a god. That's it. It doesn't say anything about ghosts, aliens, fucking Bigfoot, Brian's testicles. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't say. He's laughing because Buckaroo just popped his head into the old camera. It has nothing to do with it except for a god. But hold on. Yes, Buckaroo.
Buckaroo,
you need a pen
to write your notes so you don't break up the show.
Oh, he needs me a pen. He needs a buy in
my drawer.
Oh well, he's yelling. He's drunk and he's yelling. Just be aware that you're drunk and yelling.
I know.
They're hearing all this. We're not editing this. We're live, pal.
So he'll edit.
No, we're not editing this.
Oh no,
we're leaving
Buckaroo,
this
you're staying right in there.
No,
you're staying right. You've interjected yourself into our conversation, and you're staying there.
Illuminati confirmed. Oh, look, I have Illuminati fucking tattoo on my wrist. You see it?
Mm-hmm. I do.
It looks weird.
Getting back to ghost stories, you can imagine now that we have all these ghost stories in 2017, and people can still it's easy to debunk ghost stories these days. It's really easy.
Absolutely.
All you have to do is do minimal research. Minimal research can basically debunk fucking anything.
This is what I'm getting to. So this is what I want to tell you. So when I was younger, I'm probably about 17, 18 years old, and I was hanging around with a bunch of people from AOL, and they were talking about they wanted to go ghost hunting, and I'm like, fuck yeah. Hold on, he's sending me a
fax.
Oh yeah. Wow, I just got a note here from Buckaroo. Shaq just said he believes the Earth is flat.
My wife told me this about 3 hours ago. I guess he put it on Twitter that Shaquille O'Neal, the great basketball player for the Los Angeles Lakers, has decided that the world is in fact flat. So there's that. And I want to give a shout out to a podcast. I've been listening lately to this podcast called Mysterious Radio. And it's a pretty new It's a pretty new podcast, and they have.
You better hurry the fuck up because I still have this goddamn story on my brain, and I don't want to fucking lose it, man.
Okay, I'm gonna hurry. The very first guest that I've only listened to about 4 of their podcasts. The very first podcast they had was some guy named Mark Sargent, and he wrote a book about I think it was called something like Flat Earth Clues or Flat Earth something, and he firmly believes that the world is flat, and he has all sorts of corroborating evidence. Don't get me wrong, the podcast was like an hour and 15 minutes long. And if it wasn't interesting, I wouldn't have listened to the whole thing. But the guy...
So stop for 1 second. So you're saying that he has evidence... He's claiming he has evidence that it's flat?
Well, he has evidence that it's not round. That's what they say. That's what they say.
Curvature of the Earth.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yes. Yeah, curvature of the Earth. So, and I mean, some of the things that he was saying was pretty fucking compelling. Whether it was true or not, I have no fucking clue. And
I feel the same.
Believe me, I didn't come away from the podcast and go like, "Holy shit, the world is flat." You know, if my mom would have listened to that podcast, she'd have been like, "I'll be goddamned."
Well, let me tell you. A couple of years ago, when I used to talk to a mutual person we know, I don't want to say friend because he's definitely not my friend, but Mario from the old Pal Talk room that you and I used to both hang out in. I was really into a lot of that stuff, and I did believe in a lot of stuff that Mario would talk about. And I started researching a flat Earth thing and Middle Earth, and like people that live within the Earth and all this stuff. And I never really was like, oh fuck yeah, that's 100% true. But I was like, that's interesting. I was in the same boat. I looked up moon bats. I always thought moon bats was hilarious. So I used to write in my thing that I am a moon bat. Apparently there are these humanoid fucking bat creatures that live on the moon. Okay. They were called moon bats. It was supposed to be a real thing. Anyway, I believe in that. I not believe in it, but I was interested in that, The only thing that I think I was really, besides 9/11 and, Pearl Harbor and stuff like that, and the JFK assassination, which I, don't want to come across as a complete crazy tinfoil hat wearing person, but those things I believe are real. But I don't want to talk about that right now. But the one thing that I was always like, maybe, and I was like, this could be possible, was the moon landing. I always thought the moon landing was a hoax. Or at least very possible that it could be a hoax, because it's easy to say in the 1960s, you know, like it's easy to be like, oh, well, I don't really have a lot of, you know, we don't have the technology yet, but if we fucking get into a movie studio and, you know, and set this up and say that we did it and, you know, and put it on TV, lots of people are going to believe it and, you know, we'll win the space race. It's easy to do that back then. It's easy to fake it, right? It's super fucking easy to fake it. People are like, you're crazy, you're crazy. Well, all right, maybe I'm crazy, or maybe you're crazy for believing when we didn't have the technology. At least a lot of people didn't, you know, believe we didn't have the technology to go into space yet. Later, though, as I started to, you know, watch other things, you know, watch other videos, I started, you know, my thoughts became more in line with no, we probably did go to the fucking moon. And, you know, like a lot of these things were explained with how come the flag was waving, and a lot of these things were, you know, and I watched a lot of debunking videos. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Not sure, no.
But there would be these videos. It's like, oh, debunking, you know, the moon landing. And then there was these other like counter videos that would debunk the debunking videos. And then they would go back and forth. It's, you know, it's like when 9/11, the Loose Change movie for 9/11.
Yeah.
That was supposed to debunk, you know, that 9/11 happened. Then there was debunking Loose Change. And then there was a video that debunked that. And then there was a video that debunked that. And it's like, basically comes down, everything comes down to what you want to believe in or not. So when I'm like 17, 18 years old, I'm hanging out with a group of AOL people, and they wanted to go to what was called Gravity Hill. Okay. Have you ever heard of Gravity Hill?
I've never heard of it, no.
Gravity Hill are these, I guess you would call it an anomaly, where like something will roll up. Like you put a ball down and you roll the ball, but it'll roll up instead of down.
Yeah, it's sort of like the train tracks in the Midwest. I can't remember exactly where it is. Where if you park your car on one side of the train tracks, and if you put baby powder like all across the trunk of your car. Because there was the handprints pushing you across the train tracks. I don't know if any of that shit's true, but yeah, it's sort of they push your car up.
Same fucking story. Same fucking story at Gravity Hill. So I'm like 17, 18 years old, and I remember my buddy Ron at the time telling me about Gravity Hill and saying the same thing. You put baby powder on the fucking the windows and windshields or whatever, and you'll see these little hands pushing. Anyway, about a year ago, the whole Gravity Hill thing was debunked. It was explained. It was proven that it's an optical illusion, that what looks like it's going up is actually going down.
Yeah, they did the same thing. They did the same thing with that train thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fucking optical illusion. So, yeah, they showed it, and they rolled a ball to prove it. They're like, look, we're rolling the ball. Looks like it's going up, but they explained how it's actually going down. So what used to happen with these cars is they put the car in neutral or whatever, and the car would just fucking roll down. But because of the optical illusion, it looked like it's rolling forward or up.
And human beings were built. Our eyesight, the way we perceive things, is really flawed. Honestly, it's sort of the same thing. And I heard this. And listen,
God created the eye perfectly, except for people that wear glasses.
It's sort of the same thing sort of happens when you're parked next to another car at a stoplight. Say you're parked next to another car at a stoplight, and the other car starts going backwards instead, and you'll immediatly, your heart jumps because you're like, fuck, I'm going forward. And you're not.
Yes.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah. You're just, the other car is going backwards. The human brain is like.
It's like when you're on a. It's like when you're on a fucking elevator too. Yeah. You know? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's optical illusions all the time. It's like when you're fucking in Hershey, Hershey, PA, they have this thing called I didn't burp, I just had a thing. I don't know, like a little hiccup. In Hershey, PA, they have this thing called Chocolate World, and it's this little ride. You sit in these little cars, and you ride around, and it shows you how like the chocolate's made and stuff, which probably isn't even made like that, but it's fun for the kids. It's a free ride. So when you walk down the steps onto this round platform thing, and then the car is on this round track, right? As it goes around. So when you're walking forward, it's fine. And it's like, okay, you have to get on this car, right? That's moving. When you're riding on the thing and then you come to the thing, it looks like the platform's moving and you're still. Even though it's the opposite. You know that you're moving, the platform's still. And so, like, it just feels weird. Like, when you get off, like lots of people stumble because, it throws them off, It's crazy. But, yeah, it's optical illusion. So this Gravity Hill thing, man, it was debunked. It was just proven to be an optical illusion. It was proven that it's bullshit, And people say all the time, it's like, well, prove that ghosts aren't real. Okay, well, I proved that one. Or not me, but scientists or whoever the fuck proved it. They proved this is an optical illusion. Cross that one off the list. Cross off. There's lots of things you could cross off. People talk about ghosts all the time, but how often, they make good for stories when you want to sit around a campfire or you want to get on a TV show or whatever. But, like this house, I've been in this house for 5 years. No ghost activity here. My grandfather died in my mom's house. No ghost activity there.
Right.
A guy killed himself in my mom's yard. There used to be a shed there. He killed himself. No ghost activity there. There's just because they're not there. It's just and it's weird when people want to, like I said, it's like they have active imaginations. But when you're busy doing other things, and you're not bored, you're not thinking of stuff like that.
All right, so I want to talk about some more of this ghost story stuff, and I want to relate some of my personal experiences right after this break. So, as you know, Ox, I grew up in Indian country, East Oklahoma, and
hey, I used to vacation in Indian country.
Oklahoma?
No, in the Poconos.
Oh yeah,
that's actually. I told you about that. That was our one vacation place in the Poconos. They had like what do they call? Like just like campsites or whatever. One was called the Ranchettes. One was called Indian country. Anyway, go ahead. Let's hear about your stories. My stories aren't interesting, man, because I don't have ghost stories. I don't have. My aunt had one, and my family, they all had one, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. Ooh, the drawers opened and closed, and shit shook, and ooh,
Let me tell you about my very. Let me tell you about my very first experience. My very first experience, and I'm pretty sure. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say this is a ghost. I'm pretty sure it was just I was dreaming, half asleep, but. How
old were you?
I was in 6th grade, however old you are in 6th grade. So I was sleeping downstairs. We had just gotten a new house in Wichita, Kansas. And me and Tyson, my brother Ty, we were sleeping downstairs in the basement. It was a carpeted basement, and that was going to be our room. We were going to share the basement together. That was our space. And we didn't have anything down there at the moment. All we had was 2 mattresses in the corner of the room. It was a big room. It was like a big game room almost. And we put our mattresses, we butted them up right up against next to one another, and just slept like that the first night that we were in the house. I mean, it was either the first or second night we were in the house. And I had this little terrier dog named Trixie, and she always slept right in between my legs, always, no matter what house we were living in at the time. I woke up in the middle of the night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and the reason I woke up is because my dog, who was between my legs, was whining. She was, just going at it, like really loud in the middle of the night. And I was like, what the hell is going on, And I kind of woke up and I looked down at Trixie between my legs, and there was somebody there. There was somebody there petting her, leaned over the base of my bed, petting Trixie, and I thought it was Tyson. You know, I looked up and I was like, Ty, what? It's late, you know, and this thing looked up at me. I couldn't see its face; it was too dark, and it backed up 2 steps or so, and then just vanished. And I looked over next to me, and Tyson was sleeping on his mattress next to me. And my mom will tell you this to this day. Like, I ran up the stairs from the basement into the living room, and my mom and my stepdad were still awake, and they were watching some late night TV show in the living room. And my mom will still tell everybody that when I tell this story, she was like, he was ghost white. He was pale, and he was shaking. He was shaking from head to toe, and he told me that he was never sleeping in the basement again, ever.
Right.
So, and that was the very first thing that ever happened to me.
You could just really attribute that, though, to, you know, like you said, you know, half sleeping, you know, or just active. You know, you're a kid. You have an active imagination. You know, lots of times people live in their head. I live in my head. You know, like I said, well, I'm going to be 37 in May. I'm so close to being 37. I just say 37. But so, you know, 37 years old, I still have a fucking active imagination. But check this out. You talk about dreams and weird, vivid shit. I peed myself the other day.
What?
I peed my pants. Yeah, I did.
All right.
Check this shit out. I have a dream. I'm in bed, and I had a fucking dream that like, in my dream, I'm trying to get up to go to the bathroom, and for some reason I end up peeing myself, like peeing in my fucking underwear, and like I get to the bathroom and I start peeing as I walk in the bathroom. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, wake up. Like, this is weird. Like, in my dream, I was like, you got to wake up. Like, you know, before you really fucking piss yourself. I woke up later. Like, I wake up and I don't know, where the fuck are my underwear? Why the fuck am I not wearing underwear? And I go in the bathroom and there's my underwear laying on the fucking floor. Wet. So I had a dream that I walked in the bathroom and started peeing in my underwear, and I apparently really did I was sleepwalking is what happened.
Yeah.
I was sleepwalking and peed my fucking underwear, like peed my pants.
Oh, God.
And my fucking, like, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's never happened to me before. Like, I mean, it probably happened to me when I was a kid. I used to sleepwalk when I was a kid sometimes. You know, but I don't.
Were you
sleepwalk. No. No. That's the thing, is like, I don't sleep. But my point is that sometimes dreams can be so fucking vivid that stupid shit like that can happen. You know what I mean? Like weird fucking shit. Like, I've had dreams when I was a kid, and I remember one time fucking waking up under my bed. I remember one time waking up in my tub. Like, I went to sleep, I woke up, I was in my fucking bathtub. Oh, like, I didn't sleepwalk a lot. Like, I wasn't, you know, like one of those kids, you know, those kids sleepwalk every day. But I would sleepwalk sometimes.
I would like to tell one more story, and then I would like to get around to eventually relating this to the Wild West, which it is related. I'm sorry that we've gone 37 minutes without relating it, but it is related. Listen, about 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, I woke up. I went to sleep in my bedroom upstairs in my house on the second floor, and my brother had been staying with me. Brother Ty had been staying at the house, and his car was parked out in front of my house. I woke up in the middle of the night, and when I woke up, I was sitting in the passenger seat of his car, and I was going through some papers in his glove box. I was like rifling through papers, and I was in my underwear. I was just in my underwear, rifling through papers in his glove box, and I woke up that way. I had no fucking clue what I was doing there. I just came to, and I was looking through shit in his glove box. I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Right.
And I woke up and I walked upstairs. And I was getting back in bed, and I was like, Megan, how long was I gone? She was like, what do you mean how long you were gone? You were laying right here. I was like, no, I woke up in Tyson's car, outside, looking through papers. She was like, you were dreaming, baby. I was like, I wasn't fucking dreaming. I just came inside from outside because I was in Tyson's car.
Or did you actually just wake up in bed or wake up in the room and think that you were outside?
No, dude.
So
I climbed into bed. I climbed into the fucking bed.
Or did you climb into bed in your dream?
I don't know, man.
That's the point, is that you don't know. Your mind is that fucking powerful that you don't even know. Or she doesn't know, or she could be like, no, I just watched you, or I was watching you sleep and I just watched you wake up. And then what if she was dreaming and she didn't?
But isn't it fucking crazy to think like I wonder what those fucking, what those papers ended up being? They were, I think they were like divorce papers for Tyson's girlfriend, his girlfriend Victoria, and her ex-husband now Randy. I think I was looking through those papers, and you know how fucking weird it is to because I told Tyson, I was like, there was some paper sitting on your seat, right, or in your glove box. I can't remember if it was in his glove box or right on his driver's seat, and he was like, yeah, there was papers there. I was like, I was looking through them. I woke up looking through those papers. And I'm like, what? It's fucking bizarre, man.
But why did you go out there? Like, what brought you out to his car?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the thing with that stuff, is that people just believe what they want to believe, or shit like that. Weird shit like that'll happen. One time, it's funny. This relates to Buckaroo. We were talking about when I talked about the candle situation earlier. One time Brian was walking with his mom, and she saw two pigeons. Buckaroo Brian's mom saw two pigeons. And she said that they were her dad, or his dad rather, and her grandmother.
Yeah, who were both dead.
Yeah, who were both dead. And how long after she said that what I'm about to say happened?
Maybe 30 seconds at the most.
So about 30 seconds later, after was like, was it Kate?
Yeah, her grandmother, my great.
Yeah, so Buckaroo's great grandmother Kate, and she was like, oh, that's your dad, and that's my grandmother Kate. About 30 seconds later, one of the fucking pigeons got hit by a car.
Holy cow! Let me tell you something about my great grandpa. We went and
he said feathers went everywhere. It's like, damn, that dude can't fucking live. He can't survive in any fucking life. Whether it's,
my great grandfather on my mother's side, his name was Ed West. And we went and we watched it. We were at the hospital with him when he passed away. When he died at 101 or something. And he died. We came home, and about a week later, my mom was doing laundry, and she freaked out in the laundry room, and she was like, oh my God, everybody, look at this. And everybody went in there, and there was a sock. There was a sock that she found in the laundry that had written on it in huge, big black block letters. It said Ed West on the fucking sock. We've never seen this sock in our life. Ed West, our great-grandfather, had never been in our house in his entire fucking life. 101 years of it, and there was a sock that said in big block black letters, Ed West, in our fucking laundry room. It was the weirdest fucking thing.
Yeah, but again, unexplained doesn't mean that you have to give it an explanation. You know what I mean? There's you come to, once you find out what the explanation really is that's when you go, okay, here's the explanation. Not, I don't know, so I'm going to say ghost. Because why would a ghost write his name on a sock?
I don't know.
why wouldn't a ghost be like, here's the lottery numbers. I'm a ghost. I know what's going to happen. Or here, you know what I mean? Like, listen, this is the fucking combination to this safe. I'm a ghost, so I'm going to let you fucking rob this place. I'm going to be your lookout. I'm a ghost. I can fucking see, you know what I mean? Like, just things like that. That's just the way my mind works. Like, when I think of that stuff. Not like, oh, I'm a ghost, so I'm going to write my name on a sock.
Let me tell you about
Hold on. I'm not trying to shit on you or your mom or anybody. I'm just saying that's just the way I look at that thing. Like I said, just because something's unexplained doesn't mean you have to give it, an explanation. Let a real explanation come forward. Like, let's just say that, your aunt was over your house. I'm just saying, like hypothetically, you have an aunt that came over your house, did laundry one time, and had his fucking sock, and for some reason left it there, and it got mixed in, and it's like, oh shit, okay, that explains it, because my aunt was at the house 5 fucking years ago and did laundry, and
the absolute only
I just unplugged my
explanation.
headphones.
The absolute only explanation would have been is if somebody would have brought something home from the hospital, because we lived so far away from home at that point. Because they were all from Oklahoma. Nobody had ever visited. Right. It was a relatively new house. Nobody had ever visited us. Nobody from the family ever. And I don't think anybody ever did in that house. And the sock was just there. The only other logical explanation is somebody brought it home. Somebody grabbed it and brought it home from the hospital. Which is fucking weird by itself. If somebody fucking did that, it's weird. But it was there. I mean, I saw it. I touched it. I saw the fucking sock. And we would also have problems in that house, in that same house, with the water faucet, the water faucet in the kitchen. We would all be in the living room watching a movie, and the water faucet, which is a manual water faucet, would turn on. It would turn on by itself. I mean, it would just flip on. And we had we had a window in the living room that was one of those windows that opens diagonally, like it sort of kind of pops out like this, It would pop open. It would pop open all the time. That window would pop open. We had a picture on the wall that would vibrate all the time. Those were just things that we saw all the time in that house, and we were used to it. We saw it all the time.
Did you ever witness the faucet move?
No, but there was nobody else in the house.
But again, just because it's it's unexplained to you, doesn't mean that there's not a real explanation.
The way I always figured it as I was growing up, I was like, well, it had to be something to do with water pressure or something. The water pressure probably
could have been pressure, could have been like you said, vibrating. It could have been something weird, some kind of vibration that made the window open.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. These are just strange things that happened that I'm sure that there's explanations for. They're just things
there's usually some kind of scientific explanation. That's not, like I said, because if there was a ghost that's able to do that, if a ghost is able to do that, then why can't a ghost just pick up a pen and write on the wall like Ed West, like, hey motherfuckers, I'm here.
Right.
Why? It's like. He could write on a sock, so why can't he write on a piece of paper and show it to you? Anyway, I know a lot of people don't want reason, logic. They want to believe what they want to believe because they need an afterlife. They need, some kind of explanation because it's like,
people don't want to believe that they go nowhere when they die.
Right. That's always the thing I heard as a kid. I've been an atheist since I was 14. I've been an atheist since I was 14, and the phrase I would always hear is, "This can't be it." This just can't just be it.
I've been an atheist. I've been an atheist longer than that. I assure you.
This has to be something, or there has to be something, rather.
Let me tell you about some of the stories growing up, going back and relating to the Wild West a little bit, because we haven't been doing a lot of that. in this show, but
real quick, I was going to say, yeah. Hey, look. Here's the thing, and this is probably going to end up happening for future episodes. Not everything's got to be tied to the Old West, and this one will be tied to the Old West because we will get to Old West stories. We're going to tell them whether we believe in them or not. We're going to tell them. But I'm just talking about future episodes. There might be an episode where it's just us shooting a shit, and it might not. It's like, how can we not talk about an old Western movie or something that happened in 1880s fucking Nevada or Dodge City? All because the show's our show. We can talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about. I don't talk about.
Go eat a dick if you don't like it.
If I want to talk about Mickey Mouse for a fucking hour, I will. You don't like it, Nate. I mean, Cole, but fucking butt fucking.
I
have to.
We might do an episode about that.
That butt fucking. I don't like them. I mean, I used to like them motherfuckers, but now you talk about butt fucking.
We'll make Brokeback Mountain our movie of the week.
That's fine. That's
Western
fine.
of the
we'll
week.
Do that.
So growing up in East Oklahoma, there is a lot of like lore and culture and crazy ghost stories from my family. I grew up listening to a bunch of stories. Okay, for one, for instance, there was this guy. That we would drive up and down Highway 14, going from Stillwell to Westville or Westville to Tahlequah or wherever we were going. There was this guy. He was always dressed very heavily, like in a coat, and he was always just walking down the road. I mean, you could see him everywhere. Every time you drove, the guy just walking down the side of the road. Nobody really had to seemed to have any clear idea of who he was. One day, I was driving with my cousin Timmy, who is much older than me, and I was like, "Man, that guy's just always walking." He goes, "Yeah, it's a skilly." I was like, "What?" He goes, "That guy's a skilly." I was like, "What the fuck is a skilly?" He goes, "They don't die. That guy's been walking these roads for hundreds of years, been doing that for forever, you know." And like for me, like that, like, you know, with me and my active imagination, I don't know if he was just fucking with me, but I was like, "Holy fucking shit!" And then I started asking people, you know, around Oklahoma, you know, around in my friends circle. I'm like, "You ever heard of skillies?" And they're like, "Yeah, those are people that don't die. Those are the people that don't die. They just walk." You know, I was like,
were you like, do you actually believe this shit?
Yeah. Well, back then I was a child. I was like, holy fuck. You know, it was just some fucking dude who doesn't die walking around on 14. I don't know. It was just crazy. They also had a couple other ones. Like there was things that they called the little people out by Lake Tenkiller, where I grew up. They called them the little people, and these were like little, basically like goblins or monsters or dwarves or whatever you want to call them. They were very short little people, and they caused havoc. They would release your boat from the dock. They would, you know, they were mischievous. They were little motherfuckers.
Yeah, I call them angry midgets.
Yeah. and that's what but people swore that the little people were around. And there was also a lady.
Let me tell you something. It's funny with the little people. There was always around where I lived, right outside of Philly. And this is even when I was living in Philly at the time. There was always like rumors that there was like a little midget village or like a little person village. And when I say little person, I'm not trying to use the PC term for midget. Look, fucking dwarf midget, you're all a midget to me. You know what I mean? If you're fucking like under 4 feet tall, you're a fucking midget. Shut the fuck up. Oh, I'm a little person. Yeah, you are. You're a little fucking midget. There were always these rumors that there was like these like little villages like hidden away, and I never found them. But I did find I talk about like weird stuff. I do get the books called like Weird Pennsylvania or Weird New York. Do you know what I'm talking about? Did you ever see those books?
I don't know what you're talking about now.
It's like the weird U.S. books. You go to any local library, not library. Well, you can probably find it at your library or bookstore, and look for like the weird. Like if you look at like where you would find ghost stories, and there's this a series called like Weird U.S. And they have like Weird Pennsylvania, so they'll have Weird Oklahoma, and it shows you like all the weird shit that's near you. If you want to look it up, you want to Google it real quick. It'll show you like what's by you. And I found in one of the books. I'm pretty sure I found it there. I may have found it somewhere else, but it was like, oh yeah, it's a little fucking village. It's a legit little fucking village that like, I guess it was a community of all these little fucking midgets, and somebody must have stumbled upon it somewhere and then was like, I guess, you know, it just became part of like local lore, but it wasn't just local lore here. It was local lore there, like in New Jersey and in New York and in like all these other places. And all of a sudden, all these states all of a sudden claim that they have a village of little people. So I'm wondering if it's the same thing. You know what I mean?
I am
like,
curious.
I'm
I am curious about something, Ox. I'd like to know what, since you, someone who doesn't believe in ghosts whatsoever or the paranormal at all, what is the strangest thing that has ever happened to you that you can't explain?
My God, why I dated half the girls that I did.
No, that was actually pretty strange for me too.
Yeah. It was some of them look like an anomaly. You know?
I felt like a couple of the girls you dated were actual apparitions.
Yeah. Let's see. It's like I'm trying to think, man. It's you know, when you're put on the spot like that, sometimes you're not really prepared. It's like, fuck. Anything weird like that probably would happen when I was a kid. And like I said, when you start to bullshit, you know, sometimes you believe your own lies. It happens a lot. So, you know, when I would tell people, oh, this happened or that happened, and it didn't really happen.
Right. You exaggerate or whatever.
Yeah, you exaggerate, and then you start to believe that it happened. But I'm trying to think, like,
the stories
I think
that
just like maybe hearing noises, no real big stories or anything.
Yeah, the stories that I told you, like that, I legit feel like they happened to me, but I always do try to find logical explanations for them. Like I said, with the sock and the window and the water, and even the kid petting my dog at the foot of my bed. I always try to find something that explains everything, and usually I can find something that explains everything. But I also I dream a lot, and I dream a lot that my dad is sitting on the bed next to me and I'm talking to him, and I've waken up in the middle of the night talking to my dad.
Yeah, I had, dude. The same thing. I have lots of dreams about my dad. Lots of dreams where my dad's communicating with me and stuff. And and my mom would be like, "Oh, it's his. He's really talking to you. That's how they're communicating from the afterlife." And I'm like, or it's just my brain is very active and I miss my dad, and I feel very guilty about things, and I miss my dad, and my brain's trying to fucking. It's a coping mechanism, it could be something like that. And like I said, some people don't want to hear that, they don't want to hear that. They want to hear, no, there is an afterlife, and I will be with my dad again. Here's the thing. I will never see my dad again. I will never see my dad again, because when I die, I'm dead. I'm gone. There's no afterlife for me, man. There's nothing. How do you feel about psychics and mediums and stuff like that? Do you think they're con artists, all of them? Yes, absolutely. And it's funny because on Periscope I follow one, and she's a sweet girl too, so nice, and she's considered a medium. I'm considered a 4X, but she is a very nice girl, very nice, very sweet, and I'm like, God damn, you're such a bullshitter, like tarot card readers and all that shit, they're all bullshit. They're all bullshitters. But I think the thing is when you become so immersed in that whole culture, that whole scene and everything, you start to believe it, and it becomes easy. Your imagination becomes so active, and then things do become in line with things. But you're in a bubble now. Now you're in a bubble with other people that believe in that stuff. So it's like, when you're clever and a witty and a quick person, and you're able to like, okay, I see there's a J name, I feel there's a J name reaching out to me, and then you're like, it's like there's somebody that passed with a J name, and then all of a sudden your mind goes, shit, well, my Uncle Joe just died. Oh, I have an Uncle Joe. That's it. I was wondering, like, when that ghost guy on TV always did that. There's somebody starts with a J. And I'm like, well, is that the first thing he told you? Is that the first thing he told you? Like, the spirit came to you and said, my name starts with a J. So we're just going to play a game. It's me. Hey, it's me. It's Jack. I'm dead. I know, right? Hello? Just tell them my name starts with a J. Tell them that. They'll know it's me. Tell them it's sad.
Right.
My name starts with a J.
You would think you'd think they could tell him if he learned that the name started with a J, he could probably just tell him everything, right? Like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
And what's
I think here, you know what? Here's the thing. Let me say this for a second. I just completely changed my mind. I believe in ghosts now, and I believe ghosts are assholes that fuck with these mediums, the psychics. Because notice these guys can never get the name right. It's like it's a J, it's a J. How come ghosts are very vague with telling them a name? The ghost is like they're playing games with them. It's like I'm not gonna tell you my whole name. It's gonna fuck with you a little bit. My name begins with a J. It's a J name. It's like a J type sound. But I'm not gonna tell you what it is. You have to ask them, and let's see if they get it right. Let's see if they remember me.
They play like play like a little game show with him. Let's see if Jerry is on the board. I don't know. Let's see. Is Jerry on the board?
Do we have Jerry?
No, sorry. That's not my name. It does start with a J. It's definitely not Jerry. You suck. You're a terrible medium.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how Penn and Teller had to show bullshit, and they debunked a lot of this. They show cold readings and whatever, they show like how these people do these things. A lot of this it's all been debunked. People that used to do that stuff came forward. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite shows of all time is called The Mentalist. I don't know if you've ever watched The Mentalist.
No.
Okay. And it's about this guy who, like, his I think it's his daughter and his wife, or his son and his wife get killed. It's been a while since I've seen it. I'm like, it's one of my favorite shows. I forget what it's about. But his wife and his kid get killed, and he used to be like a TV psychic or whatever. And, you find out that it's not really, like, he doesn't really have the powers or anything like that. But you see that a lot. Like, there are people that used to be those, like, oh, I was a medium, but now, I'm straight, I've come forward and I'm going to tell you that this shit's bullshit, No, I don't believe in that stuff at all. I think they're all fucking crazy. I think some people might hit the nail on the head with some things. But I just believe that it's bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you believe it?
No, I don't. I don't believe in mediums. Okay. I don't believe in mediums or psychics whatsoever. I think they're all full of shit. I think they do some very good detective work. I think they should all be policemen. Because they're obviously they're obviously very
PIs.
good.
Be a PI.
Be a private investigator, not a medium or a psychic. Because you're obviously very good at learning some things. But
let me tell you something. With the advent of the internet and Facebook and LinkedIn and Pipl.com and all these different sites, you can find so much shit with people. So it's really easy to do a quick Google search and find information and not only find information about that person, but people that are close to people that are close to those other people.
I want to say something real quick. If you're listening to this show and you're a person who considers himself a medium or a psychic or any sort of person who sees paranormal activity as a real and tangible thing, and they have evidence, please feel free to contact us at Smokewagon Radio at Gmail at smokewagonradio.gmail.com or at gmail.com. Sorry. And please feel free to contact us because I would love.
Just said Smokewagon Radio at Gmail.
Yeah, I know. I went through the ringer on that one. But listen, contact us and let us know.
Contact us at smokewagonradio at gmail.com. That's slash dash
radio
or
Gmail at
Facebook,
radio Smokewagon radio at Gmail
smokewagon.com.
And then we'll talk to you.
Maybe. Who knows? We don't even know where to direct you. We don't even know where we're sending you at this point.
Oh, Jesus. But yeah, get a hold of us and we'd be happy to talk to you.
It depends on who's going to read the email. Because if I read the email, I'm going to say, go fuck yourself, you piece of shit. So just
be
careful.
Yeah. We do have some new hate mail. We'll read that next episode.
I got a little distracted because I was just given a sandwich and I was like, ooh, food. I don't even know what I was talking about. What was I talking about?
Fuck if I know. I know.
Well, so, you know what we should do? We should probably get on to the ghost story portion. Yeah. Let's probably get on to that. So I was looking up some old ghost stories. I actually have to. Now I have Bishop, who is Buckaroo's dog. I named him after Dr. Walter Bishop from the show Fringe.
Friends?
I was talking about Fringe, yeah.
Okay,
Fringe?
Friends. Yeah, I know Friends.
Nope. Fringe.
Yeah.
Friends.
Yeah, Friends.
Yeah, but I get you. You're going to keep going back to Friends. And you're saying Friends where you're saying Friends. You're saying Friends in your silly fucking Midwest accent.
Friends.
Friends. Nope, Fringe. Fringe.
I'll be
with Dr.
there
Walter
for
Bishop.
you.
Look at this little motherfucker. He keeps coming over to me. Yeah, I get it. I have food, you fucking dog. Dogs are such begging assholes. Anyway, I pulled up a list of Old West ghost stories, and without even looking up any yet, which I haven't, I came completely unprepared, but I figured the best thing to do on this show would be to just Google them as we're doing the show and look them up and find something cool and read about it. But I do know about the birdcage, which is in Tombstone, Arizona. I know the birdcage is supposedly really haunted, and apparently you're not allowed to take pictures there. And I noticed that a lot of these haunted attractions forbid you from taking pictures. Why? Why is that?
Well,
you know what I hate too? I hate the people with they're ghosts. You know, with the orbs. When you see the picture, look, it has all these orbs. Go fuck yourself. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think they're obviously the Birdcage Theater is one of the most notoriously, in quotations, haunted places in America. And they probably just don't want you taking pictures because they don't want you making money off of that's their money, that's their gold pot. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
for anybody else to come in there taking pictures of their pot of gold, and you know, I don't know. They just don't want people. They don't want the illusion ruined. That's what it is. You know, because I'm sure there'd be a lot of people coming there taking pictures and just going like, well, I don't see shit. There's nothing here. You know?
Right.
They want to keep the mystery alive. There you go.
I don't know. I'm thinking maybe like maybe they have it all stuff. I'm sorry, I'm talking with like a mouthful of food. I thought you were going to keep going, so I was like, I'm going to take a bite of sandwich.
I didn't really have much to say.
Maybe they have like wires and shit and all kinds of like speakers and shit.
At this point, they probably do. At this point, they probably do have that whole fucking place wired up. Like, they probably have holograms and shit. Like, fucking projection machines everywhere.
Yeah, it's like a haunted
it's literally
mansion
like
at
an
Disney.
Abbott and Costello set in there now. If you go in there, there's fucking curtains moving and shit.
Are you an Abbott and Costello fan?
I love Abbott and Costello. I love them.
They're like the Marx Brothers and Abbott and Costello are my favorites. I have the whole Universal collection of Abbott and Costello. As a matter of fact, yeah, I was doing it earlier because of my breathing. Because I don't know if I'm getting sick or whatever it is, but it sounds like I have a lot of fluid or phlegm or something. I was doing a. You hear that? I can't do it. It doesn't even sound that good because of the. It sounds like I have fucking fluid in my lungs or
adore
some
Abbott
shit.
and
Maybe I'm
Costello.
dying.
They're the best, man.
Yeah, one of the last things I watched with my dad, he was in a hospital earlier. The year he died, he was in earlier that year. He was in a hospital. Then he went in this like kind of like nursing home type thing or some kind of like thing, I guess, just until he could get back into his apartment. And I brought over my Abbott and Costello DVDs. I have, like I said, I have the whole Universal collection. Everything they did, they shot with Universal, and then other things too. I'm a big Abbott and Costello fan.
Me too.
So I brought it over, and it was one of the last movies I watched with him. But when I was a kid, I was a big I loved the Flintstones. And there was like, you had the Flintstones, you had the Flintstone Kids, and then you had the Pebbles and Bam Bam show. I don't know if you remember that.
No, I don't think so.
Do you remember? Well, there was one of them, and I'm not sure if it was the Pebbles and Bam Bam show or whatever it was. There was an episode where they went into this house, and the house was all haunted, but you found out that it was just set up, and there were like people behind walls, like, you know, like talking into like these different things, and it's like they set up this like haunted house.
Wasn't that like always the way it was on Scooby-Doo? Like they always sort of found out that it was just some guy who was like bullshitting with all of them, or did they ever actually find any real ghosts?
Not in the cartoons, I don't think, unless I'm trying to think. I know there was Zombie Island. I think in the movie Zombie Island, there was like a legit ghost, and in the live action one, I think there were, pardon me, I'm chewing, live ghosts. But no, for most of just a regular original run of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? It was just all people.
What a ripoff.
I liked it though. I mean, there was that old meme. It was like, just goes to show that the real monsters are human.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's another podcast called Sword and Scale.
You know what? You keep talking for a minute. Let me finish this little bit of sandwich.
Yeah, there's another great podcast if you guys like true crime and stuff. And their tagline, Sword and Scale's podcast, is this is a podcast that shows you that the real monsters are that. Okay, wait, I forget how the exact tag goes. Okay, I'm retarded. That the true monsters are actually real, and it's just a podcast about how terrible people do terrible things to other people. But you know, it's kind of bullshit. I always thought that. I mean, if you're gonna make a show about ghosts like Scooby Doo and the Magic Machine, and all, isn't that what their vehicle was called, the Magic Machine or
Mystery Machine?
Oh, the Mystery Machine. And they're gonna go ghost hunting, and they never find any ghosts. They just find assholes pretending to be ghosts.
But they solve the crime though, which is what I like about it. They're detectives. You know, they don't find the ghosts, but they actually solve the crime, and they usually get the guy at the end. They get him arrested. You know, and the guy always says, "Oh, I would have gotten away with it too." If it was,
yeah, I would have got away with it. You and your stupid dog. Yeah. I just realized they were the original ghost hunters.
No, they were ghost hunters before that, man. Do you know the Ghostbusters cartoon from the 80s?
No.
Okay, there's Ghostbusters, you know, Peter Venkman and all those guys, you know, Slimer. There's Slimer in the real Ghostbusters. Do you remember that?
Of course.
There was another cartoon called Ghostbusters, and it had like a gorilla. And it was like a gorilla in like a fedora, and they drove in this like Jeep type car, and it had this like, I don't know, this like ghost on the thing, and they were called Ghostbusters, and they were allowed to get away with the name for whatever reason. But I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% certain, I'm pretty sure that cartoon, Ghostbusters, was based off of an old Bowery Boys. Now, if you're not familiar with who the Bowery Boys are, they were around in the 30s and 40s. When they were called the Bowery Boys, the Dead End Kids, the East Side Kids. They were also another comedy group. They would do a lot of movies, you know, back then. Hunts Hall, Leo Gorcey, and I'm pretty sure that they did some kind of ghost hunting cartoon or some, you know, movie rather. That's what they based this thing off of. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure somebody watched that one and was like, oh, I'm going to make a cartoon, you know, that's very similar to that. But yeah, man, I loved
when did the original Ghostbusters come out?
The movie or the cartoon?
The original movie.
Shit, hell if I know. I'm going to say 1980. Let me see.
Well, you said that cartoon came out in like 86.
The cartoon came out in 80. Both cartoons came out in 86. Yeah. 84. The original movie came out in 84.
So how the fuck did they get away with that cartoon?
With using the name Ghostbusters? Yeah. I have no idea.
It's not associated at all with the Ghostbusters?
Correct.
Huh.
That's why the other one. That's why the one that came out that has Slimer in it and Peter Venkman and all that. When that came out in '86, they had to call that one the Real Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's why they called it the Real Ghostbusters.
Huh.
So I'm looking up on. Here we go. if you go on Wikipedia and you type in Ghostbusters, it'll say 1986 TV series. It was later called Filmation's Ghostbusters. It was created by not cremated.
It was cremated.
Yeah, it was created by Filmation. Yeah, it's like here it goes. It's not to be confused with Columbia Pictures' 1984 film Ghostbusters or that film's subsequent animated TV show, The Real Ghostbusters. When making their film, Columbia Pictures needed to obtain rights to use the name from Filmation. Whoa, so Filmation had the name first, apparently. But I guess maybe they were making this movie first. I mean, maybe they were making a cartoon for, because when a cartoon is being made, and if it's released in 86, obviously it's in production before 86.
Right.
So they probably had the right to use, they probably had the name Ghostbusters. And then Columbia Pictures is like, shit, we're making a movie called Ghostbusters. So they probably have to go to Filmation and be like, hey, listen, doing a movie called Ghostbusters, can we use the name? And they're probably like, sure, but we get to use it in other things, like fucking cartoon that we're going to do. And they're probably like, all right, fine. So then when they finally, do their cartoon, they're probably like, well, shit, we can't use the name Ghostbusters, so now we're going to call it Real Ghostbusters. I'm guessing that's a conversation that took place, or, that's what happened. There's a whole controversy section, too. Let's see. Neglected the fact that Filmation had already produced a live action. Oh, okay. Nope, I'm wrong. Here we go. Is when Columbia Pictures started producing the film Ghostbusters in 84, it neglected the fact that Filmation had already produced a live-action comedy series with the same name in 75.
Oh, so it didn't neglect the fact. They must have already known. You don't just come out of the fucking woodworks with the name Ghostbusters without having heard it first.
So the one that people call the fake Ghostbusters actually did it first.
Yeah.
Almost 10 years before, they had a live action comedy, yeah. And it's like Columbia agreed to license the name from them for $500,000 plus 1% of the profits. And it says, of which there were ostensibly none. Of course, because nobody's ever fucking heard of it except for me. Since Columbia didn't want to license Filmation. Did not want to license Filmation the rights to the movie Ghostbusters when they were looking to produce an animated series. Filmation produced an animated version of their live-action TV show. Columbia proceeded to name their cartoon The Real Ghostbusters to directly distinguish it from the Filmation show. Yeah, and then there's like more, and I'm sure people are listening like, who gives a fuck about this? I do, because I really liked the Ghostbusters with the gorilla with the fucking hat. I loved that when I was a kid, dude. I thought it was way cooler than Slimer.
My favorite.
Which I think Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters came later. Buckaroo. Was that a show, Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters?
Yes.
Yeah, that came after the Real Ghostbusters.
Very late 80s.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cole.
No, my favorite scene from Ghostbusters, like the one thing that I always remember from that fucking movie is the scene in the library, the ghost in the library. Yeah, that's like an iconic ghost scene. It makes me when I told you about the first time that I ever experienced sort of an apparition, whether it was an apparition or just me being too tired. There was another thing that my mother told me. You know that my dad died. He was stabbed to death. There was a thing, and this is all coming from my mother. And my mother is somebody who I think is a rational and religious and like decent.
That's an oxymoron.
Well, I mean,
a rational religious person.
Okay, what I think is like she has her bearings. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. She just has her bearings.
Right.
Well,
she
she told me that after my dad died, he was stabbed to death in a trailer that she was in, and she sat and watched him die in the middle of this trailer, and then she lived there after, and she went through the court system, like she went through the trial, and they showed pictures of my dad, of him dying on the floor and everything, and that night, after she watched that stuff at the trial, she was asleep in her apartment, and she got up and she went to in the middle of the night, and she went to the fridge, and there was a note pinned on the fridge that said, "Did you see me on TV?" And she had no idea who wrote it. She was there alone, and then she kept telling me that every night she would get up and she would see him laying in the living room floor, like in the middle of the night, all the time. Also, there was another thing, and this was something.
Do you think that maybe it was some kind of grieving?
Probably. Yeah. But here's the one thing that really weirds me out. There was one guy. She told me a guy came knocking at her door, and this guy was from Arizona. And a long, long time ago, this guy and my dad had been very, very close friends with one another. And this guy knocked on the door, and Mom answered it, and he's just like, I'm here, whatever you need, I'm here. And she asked him, what do you mean, what's going on? He said, and he told her the story. I was driving through town in Arizona. He goes, I looked over next to me, and Kevin was sitting next to me in the truck. And apparently, many years ago, before 10 or 15 years before, they had made an agreement with one another, that if anything happened to either of them, they would look out for one another's families. They had made that agreement 10 or 15 years prior. And he said he was just driving down the road and looked over, and he saw Kevin sitting next to him in his truck. And he said, I'm on my way.
Oh, shit.
And he just fucking knocked on my mom's door. And that's the story my mom told me. I don't know how fucking trustworthy my mom is, honestly. But
it's not about being trustworthy. It really is about, what they believe happened. And I, like I said, I feel bad. I do feel, well, I haven't said it, but I do feel bad, like going, all right, you're a fucking crazy person. You're a lunatic. That shit didn't happen. Grow the fuck up. Like, that's how I think, like, the rational part of me. But then it's like, that's a shame. It's like, it's probably a coping mechanism. It's probably what they want to believe happened, because
they want their loved one to still be around.
Yeah, exactly. All right, look, check this out. As you're telling me this, I'm looking up the old Bowery Boys thing. There are two movies they did. One was called Ghost. Well, they did a couple. They did a lot of movies that had something to do with ghosts. But the Bowery Boys did a movie called Ghost Chasers. And they also did a movie called Spook Busters. And Spook Busters had a fucking gorilla in it, right? Spook Busters with like I said, Leo Gorcey, Hunts Hall, the Bowery Boys. And then I was looking up the 1975 Ghostbusters, and it starred Forrest Tucker, Larry Storch, and Bob Burns. Now, it's funny. Me and Buckaroo Brian, I would say about 2007, 2008, somewhere around that time, we went to some kind of like, they'd have a horror convention. We went to one called Chiller Theater. And Larry Storch was there. If you don't know who Larry Storch is, he was an old comedic actor. He did F Troop. I'm not sure if you remember F Troop.
No,
he had
really.
It was based on what was it based on, the Civil War? F Troop.
I think so.
And he had like an arrow that went through his hat. Oh, I'm getting a message here, and it's from Buckaroo Brian. It says, "I'm very drinky." I don't know what that means. I don't know what I'm guessing he's saying he's drinking or he's drunk. I'm very sure.
I'm very drinky. It makes sense.
I'm very drinky.
I'm also very drinky.
Thank you, Buckaroo.
You're welcome.
Why are you texting me? Okay. Anyway, so let me wrap this up, and and we could get on to the real point of this episode was just to talk about Old West ghost stories.
So
I brought up this is mental floss. No, this isn't about the Old West. This is what's the difference between Ghostbusters and the real Ghostbusters. By the way, love mental floss, but that's not what I want. Here we go. This is one of your favorite websites, Legends of America.
I do love Legends of America.
Yeah. Well, we should reach out to them, actually. We should do that. Anyway, so there's a section. Legends of America is fucking great. They have everything here. but they have a section, it's like Old West Legends, Ghost Stories from the Old West. Hey, man, tell me what you want to pick. What you want me to pick? There's a fucking whole slew of them here.
Yeah, there's a whole list. If you go to legendsofamerica.com and then click on the Ghost Stories link, there's just so many like Old West ghost stories, and the first one that I was drawn to, obviously, because we've spent so much of
Jesse
the last
James
few
farm?
episodes. Yes.
Yeah,
The first one I saw was it said Jesse James Firm in Kearney, Missouri.
Firm. He's firm.
Firm. Jesse
hard.
James Firm.
Jesse James.
Did
Firm.
I say firm? I meant.
You said firm.
Okay. I meant Jesse James Farm.
Oh yeah.
Farm.
Firm.
Kearney, Missouri.
Farm. Yeah, Kearney.
Well,
Kearney?
it says in this. I'm going to paraphrase. Yeah, Kearney.
You said Kearney?
Yeah, it's Kearney.
But it's Kearney.
Yeah,
well, it's probably pronounced Kearney out there.
They call it Kearney out here.
You know what? You're right. They do say Kearney because I did hear it before. I did hear it mentioned before by name. But when you look at the spelling, it's Kearney. It's Kearney.
Yeah,
but I don't know why y'all say Kearney.
They call it Kearney out here.
So I'm gonna. You want me to read it, or you want to read it?
I'll read it. It says
read it?
It should come.
You don't believe in my reading abilities.
I'm gonna read this right off the Missouri Legends. Haunted Jesse James Farm, Legends of America. It should come as no surprise.
You're reading it.
No.
Oh, you're just going right into it. You're just ignoring what I'm saying. You're going to read from this page here, eh?
Well, I don't have to. I could paraphrase because I know what it says.
I'm a Canadian cowboy. I'm from where the Canadian cowboys from?
You know what? Why don't you read it? Why don't you read it out?
No. I wasn't, because here's the thing. I think you're getting a little flustered. Okay, I think this was happening here. I think you're getting a little flustered.
Flustered's my middle name.
I just want to. I thought it was Cole.
Mm-hmm.
They should call you 10 Killer Flustered.
That's actually what it is.
Oh, all right. You know what? You read.
It should come as no surprise.
It should come as no surprise
that the Jesse James Farm
in
Kearney, Missouri,
is said to be haunted. I enunciate my T's. You didn't.
Given the violent temperament of some of its inhabitants.
You thought I was going to. You thought I was going to read, and I didn't.
The untimely death of Jesse James, the violence that occurred on the property, the tragic death of Jesse's younger half-brother, Archie. It would be more astonishing to hear that the property had no tales of ghostly activity. What they see here, I'm just going to
ghost of Jughead.
I'm going to paraphrase. They see a lot of the land around Jesse James's house, his original house, the house that he died in, the house that he was killed in Kearney, Missouri. Has got have been people that see lights around it, a lot of floating orbs. People hear whispering voices around it a lot. Sometimes people have reported hearing muffled gunshots and war cries
Why don't you just
around the house.
The goddamn fucking page?
Well, because I know what it says. I just read it.
Oh. But they didn't read it. They don't know what it says.
Well, I'm telling them what it says.
Just read the page.
Okay. Both Jesse and Frank were raised in this house by their mother, Zerelda, who was married to their three husbands and bore 8 children. It was here that Jesse James was whipped as a teenager by Union militia, who strung up his stepfather and burned nearby farms. It was here that Zerelda watched as her son Archie was murdered by Pinkerton detectives in an attack where she lost her right hand. After Jesse was killed, he was buried here, where she could protect the grave from trespassers or souvenir hunters. Later, his body was reinterred in the Mount Olivet Cemetery in Kearney. The James family farm has said to have been haunted for more than a century, evidently home to a number of lingering spirits. Lights are said to move about both inside and outside the property buildings. Other reports hearing the sounds of pounding hooves, muffled shots, and cries that are reminiscent of the area history, dating back to the events of the Civil War. Today, wide arrays of mysterious happenings occur in the house. Reports are frequent that lights are seen inside the building long after it has been locked up for the evening, and movements are often seen which are never registered on a security monitoring system. Staff reports that feelings of a presence within the home are extremely intense. Others report that on foggy mornings, hushed voices and the sounds of restless horses can be heard from the nearby woods. However, when they follow up, there are no signs of a disturbance or tracks within the trees. The Jesse James family and the Jesse James Farm and Museum is located at 21216 James Farm Road, Kearney, Missouri.
Well, how about that? What do you have to say about that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I would like to see the Jesse James's house. I'd love. It's not even that far from me. It's just a few miles.
They moved the house, right?
In Kearney, I think it's the original house.
No. I didn't say that. I said they moved the house. They didn't keep the house there and move the earth. They moved the house. The house itself was picked up and moved.
To where?
They moved to a different area, to a different section.
Well, he's from
the house
Kearney.
That he was killed in. Yeah, but they moved. I'm pretty sure they moved the house.
Oh, I don't know.
Fuck, man.
I don't know anything about that.
I have to keep moving this goddamn keyboard. I'm pretty sure. I actually just brought up something about the birdcage. I want to get into that too. I want to talk about some ghost tours and shit like that. That would be awesome to go down and do the fucking birdcage ghost tour.
Well, I've told you before too that the Younger's graves are just. I mean, they're 15 minutes from my house, and I've never been there. I've never gone to see Cole Younger and Bob Younger and Jim Younger's graves, but they're right down the road from me. I could go. I'll go there and take pictures.
Here we go
tomorrow.
The house where Jesse James got killed in is where?
Kearney.
Wrong. It's in St. Joseph, Missouri.
Oh yeah, he was killed in St. Joe. That's right.
No, no, he was killed there. They moved the house. They moved it to St. Joseph.
How do you move a fucking house?
What do you mean how? They move houses all the time, dude. They move those big fucking trailers. You never saw the big wide load fucking things where they have a house on there? They literally take the house up, fucking put it on a gigantic flatbed and fucking move it. Like they move it via highway. Yeah, they move houses.
I thought they only did that with trailers.
Oh no, you know what? The house wasn't in St. Joseph. It was, but they moved it to a different area though. It's like at the time the house was located at 1318 Lafayette Street in St. Joseph.
That was the house he was killed in?
Yeah, the house he was killed in was in St. Joseph, but it was at 1318 Lafayette Street. They moved it in 77 to 12th and Mitchell Street in St. Joseph, only 2 blocks away from his original location. So they moved the house 2 blocks away. So the house that Jesse James died in, you can still go to it and visit it in St. Joseph. It's just
Missouri.
not right. It's just not in the same
just 2 blocks
spot
away.
that it was. Yeah, it's 2 blocks away. So what would be cool to me would be to go to wherever 1318 Lafayette Street is. Like, I don't know what's there right now. I don't know if a different house is there or if it's just a lot. I would want to go there and the house because the house, for obvious reasons, that's where he was killed in, but I also want to go to the spot where it happened. Now, if you're a ghost hunter, wouldn't you also want to do the same thing?
Yeah,
you want to go to both.
Well, the thing
sections?
is, and I'm going to plug that Mysterious Radio podcast again. What one of their hosts, one of their interviewees said was that an apparition or a ghost will frequently follow it will follow it. They kind of use things as conductors. You know what I mean? So if it happened in the house,
I'm saying I'm tracking.
Well, what I'm saying is like that house, that particular house that it happened in, might hold that energy that would have been the spirit or ghost that they're talking about. You know what I mean?
I have to say this, and this happens a lot, is that you get tunnel vision like I do. Like, you just start barreling through. It's like I'm trying to stop for a second to not interrupt and go with somewhere else, but try to agree with you and say something, and then you're just like, I need to go forward. Fuck what you're saying. I need to get out what I'm saying, and I'm the same fucking way. We both need to fucking just hunker down, man.
Hunker down.
Relax. We need to relax. Calm down, bro. Calm down, bro. I don't know why I just said bro. No, I know what you're saying about the conductor thing. Like I said, I get what you're saying. I don't believe it, but when I say yeah, I don't want somebody go, why is he saying yeah? He doesn't believe in that shit. No, I don't. But I understand what you're saying. And I've always found it funny, though. Okay, fine. Somebody dies in a house. You move the house, the ghost follows the house. Somebody dies in a shed. You move the shed, they follow the shed. What happens if you take the shed apart and put it through like a woodcutter? Do they follow it through the woodcutter?
Yeah. No, they follow the woodcutter.
Yeah. What?
They follow the wood
the
chipper.
actual.
Yeah. They follow it around.
The wood chipper, the actual machine, or the guy doing it.
Yeah,
or they just fucking pester him from now on.
Actually, that's another thing that they said on that podcast was that it will
stop listening to this show.
The ghosts will attach themselves to people, and they'll follow those people around. Don't get me wrong, Ox. I don't believe any of this shit. I think it's far-fetched.
Come on, tell me that a lot of this shit is just goofy. What they believe in.
It is, of course, it's goofy. Of course, it's goofy ass bullshit. And like I said before, earlier on in the show, if anybody who believes in this shit or has personal experiences or is a ghost hunter or whatever, feel free to fucking contact us and prove us wrong. Because I just can't.
Absolutely.
I can't follow it now. I don't.
No, for me, it's like, dude, I will entertain. I keep unplugging this goddamn head. I got these new headphones, so using my regular earbuds, and they rattle a lot. They're pretty damn good though. I got them at a place called Ollie's. They were only $10. They're big. They're black and gold. They're goofy looking, but man, the sound is so good. The sound is really goddamn good. Are you there? Can I still hear you? Hello? Mayday. Mayday. Anyway. No, dude, I love to entertain stuff like that. Like, I will fucking... I have no problem talking to people like that. Like I said, it interests me. I want to go on ghost tours. Because to me, it's fun. It's like people are, well, if you don't believe in it, then why do you care about it? Well, because you believe in it and you're a fucking psychopath and you're going to lie to people and you're going to try to fucking, make money off of people. Like, that's what I do hate about psychics and shit. I do hate how they prey on weak people, like they're taking money. They're taking a lot of money from these people. And it's like, oh, well, and then other people are like, so what? They're making them happy. It's like, but you're lying to them. You're lying. Like, and that's what I believe, like, religious people do too. It's not even shitting on.
Exactly.
Fuck, maybe there is.
I mean, look at what was his name? Jim Jones or whatever, or the guy. The guy who drug all of those black people down to fucking Guatemala or wherever the hell they went, and was like, Russia's gonna kill us all. We have to fucking kill ourselves. And he just convinced 1,000 people to fucking drink cyanide. He was obviously a psychopath, but I don't entirely disbelieve that everybody following him wasn't a psychopath. Because why would you?
Yeah, you have to be a special kind of crazy to follow someone like that, Yeah, like whatever, man, whatever. But like I said, I'll entertain the shit out of that. I like that stuff. I like going to, but for me, it's like, well, if people are like, well, if you don't believe it, why would you go on a ghost tour? Because it's fun. Because it's just, I like this spooky thing. I love Halloween. I love going into haunted houses. I don't believe the fucking house is really haunted. And I'm not talking about haunted houses like you going on some kind of like ghost hunting expedition with a group of people. I'm talking about like Halloween style haunted houses. Like I like that shit. And to me, it's all the same. And they're more fun than a regular house that somebody says is haunted because that house is just empty. And of course you're going to hear fucking, because houses adjust, with weather changing, floors creak. But I heard a floor creaking. You did. Could have been a rat. It could have just been the fucking wood settling. This shit happens. These things, metal and wood, it all expands and contracts and whatever with the different fucking weather, doesn't mean ghost. But, anyway, go back to the Jesse James thing. Dude, I want to go to the Jesse James house, man. I want to fucking visit. How far do you think you are from it?
I am, from St. Joe. I drive through. My wife is from Omaha, Nebraska, and we live in Kansas City. So we drive through, every time we go up to Omaha to see her family, we drive through St. Joe every single time. So, it's about an hour away from here, about an hour away from where I live. I would love to go see where Jesse James died even if it was a house that was moved to a different location. Yeah, and
I gotta get out that way, dude.
I'm gonna go see that, and I'm gonna go take some pictures of Cole Younger and Jim Younger and Bob Younger's graves over in the Lee's Summit Cemetery, which is just about 15 minutes from where I am. Very, very close.
Right.
And I've never been there, but going back to haunted places and stuff. Hold on,
real quick. While we're still talking about Missouri, I need to get out there for a few different reasons. For all that shit, got to come out and visit my fucking buddy Cole,
of course.
But I also want to go through and man, I got to visit where Mark Twain's from. He was born in a place called Florida, Missouri. But he lived in another town that I'm trying to think of the damn name of it. I gotta look it up real quick because I know he was born in Florida, but that's not where he was raised. Where the hell?
Yeah, there's a lot of weird. Midwestern
Hannibal
town names.
Hannibal, Missouri.
Yeah, my dad Kevin was born in Manhattan, Kansas.
I heard of Manhattan, Kansas. Yeah. Wait a minute, Manhattan, Kansas. I think what's his face may have been from there. From fucking Leonard Skinner. Shit, the one at the Steve Gaines. Hold on, I'm gonna look up Steve Gaines real quick. Steve Gaines is he's from Miami, Oklahoma. No, he was born in Seneca, Missouri. Who the fuck is from Manhattan, Kansas? Somebody's from Manhattan, Kansas, and I can't think of it now.
My dad.
God damn it. Besides your dad. But anyway, going back to Missouri, Walt Disney's also from Missouri. And he wasn't born too far from Hannibal, Missouri. And I'm trying to.
You would think if there was like hauntings, if there actually is.
I'm sorry. He wasn't born there. He moved there. He's born in Chicago, and then he moved to Marceline, Missouri. All right, so go ahead.
Isn't it weird how the regions of the United States, the East, the Central, and the West have like completely different these whole different heritages, like when you think it could almost be three different countries, the America, the West, the Central, and the East, because the
South too.
Oh yeah, and the South, yeah, of course, like Louisiana and Texas and stuff like that. We should just remake the map. Just be like, this is where these type of people live.
There's somebody that did that. They did do a whole like mock thing where they remake the map. And they give it like these different names. It's really funny. I forget who it was. We'll have to talk about that in another show. But yeah, it's funny. And you're absolutely right. It's just some of these places are so different. And it's funny. The more I learn about these other places, the more I'm like, man, I want to go there. As a matter of fact, so you live in Kansas City, or you live right outside Kansas City, Missouri, but you're on the Kansas side.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in Kansas. But you're right near Kansas City, Missouri. Now, I brought up Walt Disney, he lived in Marceline, which is it's not too far from Hannibal, where Mark Twain was from. He ended up packing up and moving to Kansas City, Missouri. And before he started, Walt Disney, the Walt Disney Company, he had Laugh-O-Grams. And he had a Laugh-O-Gram studio right near where you live. Like, you're in there all the time. How far would you, 20 minutes outside?
Yeah, about 15, 20 minutes outside of downtown.
So I think it's around like 30. I gave you the directions before. But yeah, that's where his that's where his building was. To me, that's like, I fucking love that shit. That's why I said, like, when I brought up the Jesse James house, to me, it's like, holy shit, dude, I want to go there. Like, when I go to Tombstone, whenever I go to Tombstone, I want to visit the Birdcage Theater. Like, I want to visit, the OK Corral. Like, I love standing in a spot where cool fucking things in history happened. You know what I mean? So, like, that's, for me, a big reason why I want to go to Kansas at all, or Missouri, is for the Walt Disney stuff,
The great, and there's a million things like that happened in Kansas and Missouri and Oklahoma. Like, there were so many, because back when the Trail of Tears happened, when they were trying to push all of those Native Americans east or west of the Missouri River, there were so many conflicts because Indians were like, no, we're not going to be moved from our homes. like right there in Central America. And you know what is there some kind of correlation between that and how many ghost stories, like Native American ghost stories, there are in the Midwest? I mean, I don't know, but it is a thing. The Midwest has a million ghost stories, and I grew up with a lot of Native American ghost stories and apparitions and things like that happen up in these hills, and subsequently there was also a lot of death and mayhem and fighting and like standing your ground and really dramatic gunfights that happened right here in the Midwest, you know. So maybe it's more prominent here. Maybe the ghost stories are more prominent here for a reason. Maybe they're actually true, or maybe it's just because people here are more susceptible to those sort of stories, you know, because there are some dumb people around here, I'll tell you that.
It's funny you're talking about being more prominent there, and as you're saying that, I'm trying to look up. I just found one about it's Hollenberg Pony Express. I'm going to open that. I'm going to read this one. I'm trying to actually find ghost stories from that area, from Missouri, from Kansas, you know, from that specific area. Oh, here's another Independence, Missouri hauntings. There we go. But I'm finding mostly Colorado, Wyoming. Oh, shit, here's another one. There we go. Haunted Forts of Kansas. Montana, Nevada, lots of Nevada I'm seeing, or Nevada. Texas, Colorado, I'm seeing these a lot. Nebraska, South Dakota. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough for me to find from that area. So what was the one that I said? Haunted Hollenberg Station, right? Are you familiar with this?
I've never heard of it.
Okay. Do you know Hanover, Kansas?
I've heard of it, but I've never been there.
Okay. All right. So this says 5 miles northeast of Hanover, Kansas is the only remaining Pony Express stop still standing in its original location. By the way, Pony Express is fucking awesome. Being a fan of the Old West and stuff like that, I love hearing anything about the Pony Express or finding that like things from that era are still around today. Like what's the bank? The bank with the fucking horse and carriage. What the hell is it called?
What, you talking about Northfield?
No. It's a very popular bank today. Brian, the bank. What's the bank that's really popular around with the horse and carriage? It's red and yellow.
Wells Fargo?
Wells Fargo. Yeah, I couldn't think of Wells Fargo for some reason. That was around then. It started then. And it's been continuously, you know, you would see that in a lot of old movies and stuff too, you know, like, oh yeah, Wells Fargo, and it's like, holy shit, that's like still around today. It didn't change its name. It's still Wells Fargo. Like I love shit like that. Whenever I hear about something with Pony Express or the, you know, Oregon Trail, and there's still something original on that location, you know, from that time, I think is really fucking cool. All right. So anyway, it says it's the only remaining Pony Express still standing in its original location. Built on Cottonwood Creek in 1857 by Garrett, G-E-R-A-T, Garrett H. Hollenberg. This station was also the largest stop along the Pony Express route. Or route, as some people say, intending to capitalize on the many wagon trains passing his way on the Oregon, California Trail. Hollenberg's 6-room building initially served as a grocery store, tavern, and an unofficial post office. 3 years later, it became a Pony Express station and later a stagecoach station. The Pony Express route, I say route, you say route, which ran 2,000 miles from St. Joseph, Missouri, there we go, talk about St. Joe, to Sacramento, California, was in operation for only 18 months, from April 1860 through October 1861. Amazingly, these young riders carried approximately 35,000 pieces of mail over more than 650,000 miles during this time, and it said that they only lost 1 sack of mail during that time. That's crazy. Now, as a mailman, you would have to agree that that's, for all that, they only lost 1 sack of mail. That's pretty.
Yeah, I lose 3 a week.
Don't tell your job that. Before the Pony Express, the railroads and telegraph lines extended no further west than St. Joseph, Missouri, and mail traveled west by stagecoach and wagons, a trip that could take months if arrived at all. The Pony Express alleviated this problem with riders who could dramatically reduce the amount of time it took for the mail to be delivered. But it was a dangerous job, fraught with Indian attacks, rough terrain, and severe weather. Now, there's no way that this is truthful, because we all know that only the white man killed Indians. Indians didn't kill white men. That's what I've been told. Oh, sorry. my bad. All right, so in this next part here of what I was just reading, this is a doozy, and I'm pretty sure that this part that's in quotations here, written on the page, was on the application that you filled out for when you, I guess you filled out a regular application or whatever. I don't know. Whatever. I'm going to pretend here, okay, that you filled out an application for when you got your job at the fucking post office. I'm pretty sure it works like any other place. So anyway, it says, for this reason, Pony Express in 1860. For this reason, a Pony Express. Wow. This is not me. This is the way it's written. It says, for this reason, a Pony Express and 1860 advertisement. I don't know. It's the English here is like fucking crazy.
Old.
So I'm just gonna. Why?
Oh, you just said the English here. It's old. It's old. It's like they spoke.
I thought you said hold.
No. I didn't say hold. You said the English here. I said old.
I thought you said hold. I was like, okay. I'm just going to say an 1860 advertisement. In California Red, okay, ready? Wanted, young, skinny, wiry fellows not over 18. Must be expert riders willing to risk death daily. Orphans preferred.
Orphans preferred.
This is a fucking 1860 Pony Express advertisement.
Yeah, man. Did those guys get awards and shit? Because they should have. They're basically like riding through Indian territory and stuff with just a pouch full of mail.
But imagine if you are like you're filling out an application to work for the USPS, and it's like you must be willing to get bit by dogs on a daily basis, and get maced by fucking like what? So it says most of the riders were around 20, but there was one that was only 11, and the oldest rider was in his mid 40s. Usually they weighed about 120 pounds. 183 men rode for the Pony Express, each receiving $100 per month in pay. Now, that's a lot of money back then, I'm thinking. $100 a month?
Yeah, I mean, back then, you would think $100 a month. That's a shitload of money, man. Yeah,
that's gotta be a lot. Riding in a relay fashion, each rider would cover about 75 to 100 miles, before another rider took his place on the route.
Wow, I didn't know that was the way that worked. So it literally was a Pony Express. I mean, like just one guy riding on a horse,
it was a relay race,
60 or 70 miles, and then handing it off to another person, and then riding.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting.
However, riders receive fresh horses every 10 to 15 miles.
So they had the entire. They had like people waiting along the way. They were like, you were to provide this.
Probably other Pony Express stops.
Right.
Or, either other stops or they just had something in place. Like, there was probably like lots of stables around. And so they would go, and maybe if they didn't have it set up, it was like they were just required to find a new horse. Yeah. Who knows how I don't know how that worked. I wasn't around. I could only speculate. So it says the entire one-way trip would take about 10 days. While the Pony Express dramatically improved the communication between the East and the West, it was a financial disaster for its owners. Hoping to gain $1 million government mail contract, the Central Overland California and Pikes Peak Express Company spent about $700,000 on the project, losing about $200,000 of their investment. The owners failed to gain the $1 million contract, and when a telegraph was completed in October 1861, the company declared bankruptcy and closed down.
I wonder what the death rate. I wonder what the death rate of a postman would have been back then. Like, what if you agree to be a postman? Like, what was the death rate of people deciding to carry people's mail across the country without Indians or some other renegade cowboys or regulators just shooting them? You know, I mean, and also were they carrying money? You know, I mean, if they were carrying money, then they were surely to die. You know, if they're just by themselves.
Here's the thing. I understand. You know, I understand that. Yeah, like the only thing, actually, basically, what I'm trying to say is the only thing I do understand about this is anything that I'm reading, and unless it says it in the story, I have no idea. Now, I'm sure somebody is going, what the hell does this have to do with anything haunted? And I was reading ahead a bit, and I'm going to get to it in a second. So it says afterwards, most of the 163 stations fell into ruins, but somehow the Hollenberg station managed to survive. In 1869, the town of Hanover was founded, and its residents made every effort to preserve the old station. The building is now located on a state historical park and operates as a museum and visitor center. So there you go. There's another building that was moved. However, according to many visitors and staff members, and here we go, this is the part that I guess everybody's been waiting for. Some Pony Express riders have chosen to linger at the station long after the building ceased to serve the Pony Express. Many claim to have heard the sounds of pounding hooves, thundering through the night, and the distant sounds of young men calling out as their phantom mounts near the station. I just read mounts, and I could just imagine like a ghost, like fucking another ghost. I was like, what's he mounting? It's kind of sexy. Others have even claimed to have seen the riders. Witnesses also report the occurrence of many strange sounds and cold spots within the building. Hollenberg Station is located 4 miles north of US 36 on K148, 1 mile east on K234 in Hanover, Kansas.
And you can find places like that all over Native America. All over. If you go to Mounds, Oklahoma, there's just these. There's hauntings. I mean, suspected hauntings all over Oklahoma, all over Native America.
Is that what you call that? You call your area Native America?
Well, it says it on the license plate, on the Oklahoma license plate. It says Native America.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird. Native America. I would think that Native America would be, over here, because we were the first ones really that used the name America before you guys did.
They call Oklahoma Native America.
Yeah, that's strange to me because I think we had the name first.
Well, I'm sure. I know you had it first. I'm positive.
I'm talking about the name specifically. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just weird. Why would you call it Native? It's like, I guess they're trying to get at, like, because there's Native Americans. It's like, hey, guess what? We had Native Americans here too. We had the Lenape Indians and the Delaware Indians.
Well, I think it's sort of like a slap in the face a little bit too. Like, now this is Native America, even though we weren't from here.
Yeah,
you kind of pushed us here.
It's funny though, not to get too immersed in that particular subject, but what I always found funny is with Native Americans, and this is no disrespect to them or anybody on on either side of the argument, but let's think about this. Let's think about the land, the United States. First of all, when Europeans came over, okay, not every tribe of Indian, first of all, was taking up every bit of land that was here, okay? Also, there were no borders. Borders are invisible, first of all. Okay, it's unless you actually have a wall, you have a physical border like Donald Trump wants, or there's like a physical Canadian border between Canada and the United States, or between Texas and Mexico. There, a lot of it's just an invisible and imaginary border, right? Like state borders, okay, like between Pennsylvania and New Jersey, or Pennsylvania and New York, or whatever. These borders are imaginary. So think about a European coming over here, right? Back when people were coming over here, okay, 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, it was really hard. It's not like we had the internet, okay? It's not like we had phones. It's not like we had televisions. We couldn't be like, hey, listen, these fucking Apaches are over here. All right, it's their land. Don't come over here. They're going to get real fucking mad. I know that there's like thousands and thousands of miles around them. They don't actually own. It's just near them. But listen, they get a little fucking pissed off if you go near there because they might want to walk over there one day. That's, to me, that's how it is. Because when Europeans came here, natives didn't have the same, Indians. I still call them Indians. They didn't have the same concept of fucking ownership as we did.
I'm never really sure if we should call them Native Americans or Indians. Sometimes I feel like Indians is supposed to be like a derogatory term, but in Oklahoma, where I grew up, that we still just call them Indians.
I know Indians also say Indians because they would say that it comes from the term Indeos, like meaning like of God or children of God or something like that. Other people say no, it's because they thought it was called India, when they came here. And then other people said, oh, India wasn't even called India at the time. There's all kinds of arguments. It's always going to happen, and it depends on what PC group at the time is going to get offended.
It is a European term. It's not like they didn't call themselves Indians. Like, they weren't calling themselves Indians when we came here. Like, the Europeans came here and they're like, they're Indians. Because did they though? I think they probably thought that they were in India or they were like close to India.
That's always a story that we're told, but we don't know that. It's like here's the thing. It's one of those I don't want to be that person, but it's like if you're in school and you just have one textbook and the textbook tells you something and it's like, oh, I'm learning, and then you find out years later, it didn't actually happen like that. It happened like this. People don't want to accept that because they don't want to learn any new information because that's what they were always taught. So anyway, my point is that, when Europeans came over, they come over here, they don't know who's here, or they may have heard a couple people are here, but it wasn't set up. The land wasn't set up like it was over England. So if you're coming over from England on a ship, you come here, villages, you know how things are set up over there because it was already, it's already civilized over there, and people have cities, you have like towns or whatever, whatever. And it wasn't like that here with the natives because the natives didn't know that. They didn't have the same culture. So they just figured they were free to roam wherever they want, do whatever they want. But they also saw these new people coming over and they attacked them because they're like, hey, who the hell are you? Hell, they attacked different tribes. There were different tribes. Some tribes were super peaceful. Some tribes were very fucking aggressive, and that's really how it was. And you'll hear other things. Basically, I think the way people want to write history right now in 2017 is that white people came over, they had, smallpox and blankets, threw it on the Indians, killed all the Indians, raped the Indians, murdered the Indians, punched the Indians in the dick, and, and we're like, I'm taking all your land, I'm an evil white guy. I don't think that's how it happened. I think what happened was a lot of people did have smallpox, they did have different diseases that they brought over, but I don't think that they intentionally did it. I think it was one of those, like, I went into a bathroom last night at the movie theater, and there was a kid who had a cold. I don't think that kid was like, I'm going to try to kill you and give you my cold. I think that kid just had a fucking cold and happened to be near me, and shit is contagious, and if you're not exposed to certain things, like, let's just say there was a certain type of sickness that's going all around England and it wasn't here yet, of course it's going to get spread. I don't think it was done intentionally. Who knows though? I wasn't there, I don't know, but I could just imagine that people coming over and be like, oh hey, because I don't think every single person that got off a ship was like, I'm going to kill the first person I see. I don't think it worked out like that. Some people are probably like, hey, how are you? And then got fucking, and I don't mean, hey, how are you in a native, joke. People are like, hey, how are you? Yeah. I think that people probably got off, and there's probably some natives that were like, I don't know who the fuck these people are. Oh, look, trespassers, or, these people might hurt me. So they take out their bow and arrows and hide behind trees and fucking shoot people. So I'm sure that happened. And I'm sure some other people were like, hey, because we knew about treaties, we know some treaties happened. So there were peaceful peoples. And I'm sure it happened on both ends. I'm sure there's peaceful Europeans and aggressive natives. And I think that there were, peaceful natives and aggressive Europeans. I think there was a mixture somewhere, and the lines get blurred, and who knows what really happened. And it's funny, talking about Native Americans too, and growing up in Philly, there were always ghost stories, but they were usually like colonial era ghost stories and about like the colonial soldiers, but there were never really ghost stories about the natives. And there were a lot of natives there, but there were always these colonial colonial ghost stories. And I'm like, I thought about that when I was older. I'm like, where the hell are the native ghost stories? Where are they? Like, why don't I hear about them? Right. It's probably because people don't know about that tradition. They don't know because that stuff was gone. That stuff was tossed. So they don't know about that. So they don't have many ghost stories because, lots of ghost stories are just fake. So, it's you'll hear about this from
wait.
Father,
lots of them or all of them?
Well, no, all of them. But I'm talking
about... Well, we made a believer at Ox. Ox is a believer.
No, you didn't make a no because I'm
you believe in ghosts.
What I'm proving is...
Ox believes in ghosts. Hey, Madman!
I believe in ghosts.
Ox believes in ghosts. I was just telling my wife
because I said something wrong. Yeah. And see what you proved another point. You said that because I fucked up and I said something. Now somebody's going to go, no, he probably really does believe in ghosts. That guy's faking. He really does believe in ghosts. He's a big ghost believer.
Faking like bacon.
And then somebody else is going to be like, hey, I was just listening to the show. These guys are two really big ghost believers. They're very religious. And that shit travels. And instead of just listening to what I said, it's like telephone.
Ox, you want to tell us where they can find us? Tell them where they can find us? Not us where we can find us, because we already know where to find us.
You're in Kansas and I'm in Pennsylvania. I know where you are. I know your address. Anyway, you can find us at smokewagonradio.com. You can email us at smokewagonradio.
And please do, if you have any ghost stories that you'd like to share with us, or try to make us believe in ghosts. There you go.
Well, I'm already a believer, apparently. You could also tweet us on the old tweet machine. We're Smokewagon Radio. We're Smokewagon Radio everywhere, really. Basically, all social media.
On the Twister.
Yeah, we say this all the time. Just find us, man. All right? Just fucking find us. Just Google Smokewagon Radio or Bing Smokewagon Radio or ask Jeeves. Ask Jeeves about us. All right?
All right, so catch us next week. Smokewagon Radio on iTunes. You can also find us on Spreaker. We're here every week, folks. Smokewagon Outlaw Radio. I'm 10 Killer Cole. That's my good buddy, Ox
That's
Ford.
Me.
It is the business.
Ain't that a pity?
I apologize. I forgot you were there. You may go now.